From the makers of Spiders Will Eat Your Face comes The Animal Saga, 3 films including Spiders Will Eat Your Face, Hamsters, The History, and Goldfish Bowl, Death by Glass. All this pet history on Amazon and BigWeaselLilWeasel.club.
Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Mike.
And you're listening to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up? The podcast. And this week we'll be reviewing Logan Lucky.
Oh, is it the sequel to Magic Mike?
Oh, no, that's Magic Mike XL.
So there's no male strippers in this movie?
No, there are not.
God damn it.
Welcome to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up, featuring 2 guys getting under the table and reviewing movies in a weekly podcast form.
And thank you to Steve Zander on Facebook for that synonym suggestion. You can always hit us up on Facebook or any of our social media with further synonym suggestions. But let us delay no further. Betwixt us
is Hayden. Sammak.
Sammak. Yeah.
Sammak.
It's all fucking good, man.
You want to get smacked? Sorry, that was really weird and annoying. That sounded like that kid in school. He was like, huh? Smacked. But yeah, you were recently on a friend of the podcast, Joe Mano's
A word
podcast.
True.
Yeah, and I think you're interested in being on another podcast. Or
well,
there was some sort of communication.
He told me that I think he said that. Did he come and do this podcast recently?
Yeah, he lives down the street.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been on many times. On this
Yeah, he said that he was gonna fucking do this. Am I allowed to swear on this?
Oh yeah,
For
no,
sure.
yeah.
Yes.
It's encouraged. No rules. My mom's not home. Go on.
My dad listens to these podcasts, and he always goes like, "Oh, do you have to swear so much?" It's like, oh,
Well, fuck you, Dad.
He's gonna hear this.
Sorry, Mr. Sammak. I'm sure you're a very nice person.
He's a good dude.
And I only said that for humorous effect.
I'll let him know. Yeah.
Mike's a cool dude. Don't get mad.
Yeah, I'm trying to get away from this now. What was the question, man?
It was something relating to Joe Mano.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Joe was doing a podcast, and he had me on.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end of it, he mentioned this podcast that you guys do, and I thought it sounded like a lot of fun. And I hate movies, so I thought that it'd be really funny to get involved in a movie podcast.
The logical choice was to go onto a movie review podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of. I mean, I remember you even texted me when we were first discussing coming onto this podcast, and you were like, I'm not the biggest movie guy or whatever. I don't know, and I was like, that's fine. We have all sorts of walks of life.
That's more interesting to us, is because we have a lot of people on that really like movies.
Yeah.
We're fucking obsessed with movies. We see movies all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Talking on this podcast every week. So it's more interesting to have people that maybe don't see movies all the time and are not as interested in movies to come on this podcast.
Well, that's we had Scout on, and he's a professional movie critic or whatever. But it's also he's am I really the first published movie critic to come on here? And we're yeah, we kind of like all walks of life on here. And again, we do have a lot of musicians on. Speaking of your own creative endeavor, Deadfellow.
Yeah.
Please do tell us about that.
No, it's a project that I have. It's a solo project. I write all this stuff for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's just a moniker, a little disassociative device.
Mm-hmm.
We've been drinking, dear listener.
Dear listener.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry,
Hayden
Dad.
wanted to take a shot before this, and they were excessive shots.
Yeah, they were. Canadian whiskey too, no doubt. Moose blood. So
Good fucking band.
It's Oh man, this is gonna be rough, huh?
We will get through this.
We're gonna get through this.
No, it's a moniker, right? And
Right.
you know, I'm trying to put out 3 albums in the course of a year, and the most recent one was California Dream, which came out in June, and then I got a new one called Millennials in Love and Other Pre-Apocalyptic Standards, and it's coming out, I guess, you know, this fall or winter, sometime. Yeah,
nice.
oh yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, no, it's
I
funny.
like those long titles.
The first one is called Love Songs for the Contemporary Listener.
I like that as well.
Yeah, so they're funny. I'm going out to Nashville. I'm recording with my friend Bill.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cool dude, and he owns a studio called Fleetwood Shack, which is hilarious. Right?
That is a good name.
Yeah, no, he's a cool dude, a really experienced, talented musician. He was in Band of Horses for a while. That's pretty cool.
Wait, what?
Yeah. He was, you know. And anyway, I got hooked up with him through a friend of mine, and so yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And that album will come out very soon. I've already finished writing it. You know, it's just a fucking matter of putting it down on. You know.
Are you going to different places to record all the different albums?
No, I normally record at Kawari Sound Studios. I live across the street from there.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's really awesome. I have access to that studio like fucking whenever. So like that's rad.
That's really cool. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine that's your gateway to getting 3 albums out in 1 year.
You know what? It's surprising. I mean, like having access to a studio like that is really great for when you want to go in and cut something. I don't spend a ton of time in there
At the
otherwise.
studio.
I'm not a very talented like multi-instrumentalist. You know, I can bang out melodies on, you know, pianos and stuff like that. In fact, the Millennials in Love one, I wanted to be mostly piano ballad like centric. But the problem is like I don't play piano, so I had to like learn how to play piano this summer and write out all the songs. But I don't spend a ton of time in the studio, but it is helpful. Like I can pretty much go in there and cut, you know, kind of when I want to. I don't have to like, you know. But I'm going out to Nashville actually to record this one because I wanted to make kind of like a left-hand turn from what I did. Each one of these albums is supposed to sound markedly different. So,
So, I mean, how would you describe this? Is this like stripped down music?
this new one, Millennials in Love,
Or any of them, really?
the first
Yeah,
one's
if you had
pretty
to compare
stripped
to
down.
like certain
people who are
albums
listening
to
to this
artists or
podcast
whatever.
never heard
All
of
right.
before.
So the first one is like really stripped down, and I don't know, it's kind of rawish. Then the next one is so that's Love Songs to Contemporary Listener. California Dream. I hate the Beach Boys, so I only listened to the Beach Boys for 6 months. I didn't listen to any other fucking music.
no.
And I recorded. I decided that I was going to only listen to them, and then interpret that sonic palette like through this album. Which was kind of a fucking disaster, actually. It didn't do super well. I thought I was going to do great. It didn't do super well. Then this new one, Millennials in Love and Other Pre-Apocalyptic Standards, I kind of want to... I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about it. It's just it's coming out, and it's going to be very different than either of the first two. But also, you know, you got to learn something when you put out projects, right?
Of course,
so it's going to have some sort of... Wow, man, we should save that for a stock sound. That was like the best, like,
That was a really good
opening.
beer track.
Yeah.
That is. Mike, are you saving yours for when we say what beer we're drinking?
I mean, I'll crack it whenever.
No, Mike.
Crack it into the microphone, like, real good.
Mike, we haven't... Nice.
Yeah, that would have been...
That was a good crack.
That was...
I was talking over the first part of that.
By the way, we're drinking hams this week.
Yeah.
Brought to you by John Hamm.
It is. It's
That's an
spelled
actor.
like the... I really wanted to tell somebody. I was like, oh, hey, do you have anything to drink? And I'd be like, yeah, we got some ham in the fridge. Help yourself. I'd be like, huh? That's a deli meat.
It'd be like...
That's not a beer.
It'd be crazier if you were like, we had hams in like the refrigerator, and then they opened it, and they were just like 4 like Easter hams. That'd be crazy.
If there wasn't actually beer in the fridge.
Having like one Easter ham in your fridge is like visually startling when you open up the refrigerator.
But 4.
They have like the garnishing, like pineapples or whatever.
We're prepared 4 Easters in advance from now.
Or like
ham's
Hayden
cured,
goes to like the refrigerator and opens it up, and it's just like a naked John Hamm. He's like, "Help me! I was Don Draper.
I deserve better than this." But where can people go to find your music if they're curious?
It's Bandcamp, I think SoundCloud, Spotify and iTunes, Amazon Music, Google
Dead
Play.
Fellow on all those.
Dead Fellow, one word.
Dead Fellow, one word. You'll find me. You can find some stuff on YouTube. You can leave mean comments. Dude, I got like fucking crucified on Instagram the other day.
Really?
For what?
Dude, this one fucking woman, she like fucking came to this free concert that I had, right? So I was playing free at noon for like a radio for 88.5, and that's XPN, and the musical director like gave me this opportunity. And it was like kind of like, I guess someone bailed or something like that. And it was like, or not bailed, it was like probably schedule conflict. Because this is like a super like awesome like event. Like it's really,
right.
Adele fucking did one of these things. You know
wow.
what I mean? Like it's like it's like nothing to like fucking like smirk at, It's
right.
Like, I don't know how to like contextualize it because like I'm not, super sentient of like all this stuff myself. But like, I would gather that it's like a very cool thing to do, and it was sure as hell like something that I was really psyched to do, and I was really
Adele did one,
right?
Fuck,
right?
Yeah.
That's all you need to say. Yeah,
that was perfect contextualization.
So the whole premise is like it's free at noon on Friday. You come downstairs, you register online, you come and like you watch the concert, and you go back to work, and then like you had a nice thing to like bring you into the weekend. So this fucking person, she takes a picture of me, right? And like and captions it with like, "Sorry for the rant." And she just goes in. She goes in on my hair. She said like it was
she
like
was sorry. She said sorry.
This was like a fucking paragraph. This was like a paragraph.
What'd she do? What? She went in on your hair?
Yeah. Oh my god. She went in on my hair. She went in on my like fucking like stage presence. She went in on like my song. She said my melodies were weak. She fucking dude. It was like her exact words were like it was a chore to behold or like something like that. And meanwhile, I mean like this is not like a myriad of reviews I'm getting like this. So I'm like I feel pretty comfortable like chalking this up to like one like kind of like I mean there are plenty of people. You can't
please everyone. There's always going to be that one person that's just
fuck
like
them. I don't care. If you're listening to this, fuck you. But like the craziest part of it to me, right, is that she picked an Instagram filter. Like, think about that.
She took a picture and it was like, which filter looks best?
Yeah. Right? And like that is like insane. And it, like,
is she tagged you on Instagram? And
No, she didn't. I found this because like I'm like crazy vain, so I like scroll through like the hashtags like and like try and like find shit related to me sometimes.
Right.
I was like, I wonder if anyone got cool pictures hashtag free at noon, and sure enough, yeah, that's how I found it. She didn't tag me. She didn't,
at least she didn't tag you. I guess I feel like at least she's not leading bad press directly toward your profile.
I don't know. I guess she said "dead fellow" like 30 fucking times.
There's the plug.
Yeah, Love Notes 33. Fuck you.
Let's see what she looks like. No, I'm just kidding.
I bet your hair is not so great.
Yeah, for real.
How's your stage presence, huh?
A fucking free concert, man. Like, don't show up, you dick.
You ruined her lunch.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess
there's always gonna be people like that. We've gotten some reviews on like iTunes of this podcast that are just like, you didn't have to listen.
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half long. You could have turned it off at any point before this.
We only have one star review like on iTunes, and it's just from this guy who got really amped about what was that movie?
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge. It was like a war.
I didn't think that movie was that great.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
And that was what he was beefed about.
This guy was very adamant about it being great.
He thought we were unpatriotic for giving
Well,
it
if you say like fuck, if there's like a fucking movie where like people who are like the physical manifestations of like America and like patriotism get blown up, it is automatically a good movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we had the same reaction to we did 13 Hours, the Secret Soldiers Benghazi.
Oh,
and
man. Yeah, that was
had somebody who knew the actual guy that was in like the real the real world of that situation in Benghazi.
What did they called us? We referred to that movie as what did we say?
Say a lot of things about that movie.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, no, it was just it was a little racist, kind of, and I think we harped on that, and they really like let loose.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like the thing is, like, right, we've like come to expect that war movies will automatically be good because, like, if there is like a director or a screenwriter willing to undertake these like massive, ethical struggles of humanity, or write about these people like sacrificing like their lives for like our country, right? There is like that expectation that they're going to do it in like a good and tasteful way while like still portraying like the gravity of it. Like other like Saving Private Ryan or like the Band of Brothers series,
right?
But like sometimes, man, like people take that as they can make a war movie and it will automatically be good because it is a war movie. Hacksaw Ridge,
because people die in war.
Yeah, Hacksaw Ridge.
It's also Hacksaw Ridge was very kind of like American military propaganda in a way.
It was,
that and the 13 Hours were kind of, I don't know, like it's just like, no, you're making a movie. Like there still has to be some sort of bad quality to the hero.
And all movies are open to criticism.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
Like all music or all art or all anything of any kind.
Yeah. You hear that, Love
open
Notes
to criticism.
33? You could be criticizing movies.
Love Notes 33. Oh god. Anyway, let's get into Logan Lucky.
Oh my gosh.
Joe, you want to read that IMDb description, and I'll get into my mic notes about this movie.
Okay. The IMDb description says, 2 brothers attempt to pull off a heist during a NASCAR race in North Carolina.
That's what happened.
I do actually like that IMDb description.
That's a pretty good description.
This is kind of like a running theme on our podcast where either they're too short or they're too long.
That is an incredibly accurate
That's
summation.
what happens in this movie.
But like this movie was like very willing to be summated like that. Yeah. Summarized like that.
Tried
it. They were like, we're not going to put any like...
They were aiming for that one sentence IMDb description.
There's not going to be any character development. No greater message.
What you see is what you get, man. But tell me about Logan Lucky.
Logan Lucky was
set up the scene.
Directed by Steven Soderbergh.
That's the entirety of the description? I thought we were just...
It's one sentence, yeah.
That was the IMDb description.
I'm going to give us some context.
I thought I interrupted you. Okay, great.
Oh, no. Yeah, Mike's just going to give us his own research on this movie.
Research is putting
Is this based on a true story?
Steven Soderbergh, he's got a ridiculous filmography. We've got Sex, Lies, and Videotape, Out of Sight, The Limey, Aaron Brockovich, Traffic, Ocean's 11, Solaris, Ocean's 12.
Get the fuck out of here.
Ocean's 13, Che, The Informant, Contagion, Magic Mike, and Side Effects, and that I'm leaving out a few because I can't read
Solaris?
So this dude did Magic Mike and like the Ocean's franchises?
I haven't seen Magic Mike, but I have heard great things
just
about
like
Magic Mike.
I haven't seen Magic Mike.
I think it was marketed.
The dude is Channing Tatum, right? So what did he do? Just like fucking take Ocean's 11, like be like, hey, I worked with fucking Channing Tatum recently. Like, let me just... If you're listening to this, I smushed my hands together. That's what you heard.
Yeah,
I've heard good things about Magic Mike. I've heard that it was marketed in a way that's like, oh, here's all these hot guys with abs dancing and gyrating.
I think that's
but that there's a lot more
Hollywood
going on
more
beneath the surface. It's on my watch list. I haven't actually seen Magic Mike yet.
I think Hollywood needs more just blatant like male objectification, like as recompense for like.
Even if Magic Mike was just like guys in abs, just like gyrating,
I
still want to watch it.
We need more of that.
Right, but I heard it's actually a good. He didn't direct the second one, right?
I'm sure. Yeah, he did.
Magic Mike XL. Is that what it was called? I'm pretty sure. Like, Is that just like...
Yeah, no, I think
Okay.
I think that is what it's called. I don't know. You know what?
My short size is XL.
You know, it's crazy.
It's not like...
I need an XL to fit this dick. Do you understand what I'm saying?
What is that XL referring to? Is that like... Because usually women aren't like, my husband's XL. Be like...
I mean, how often do you talk to women about their husbands like that, man?
What's your husband's short size? Just curious.
What's his like t-shirt size? XL? Ooh, lucky girl.
Oh my gosh.
Magic Mike XL t-shirts.
Have you ever seen Shaq's wife?
She's very small.
I thought it was a movie for a minute. I was like, have I seen Shaq's wife?
Could
It
be
might
a
be a
movie.
movie.
Being married to Shaquille O'Neal. She's very small,
It's
yeah.
on the deep web. Yeah, dude. She's like...
Wait, what about the deep web? Shaq's wife on there?
The movie is, yeah.
Oh.
No, it's funny. Like, Shaq's wife, like, isn't even, like, small for being Shaq's wife. Like,
She's small for being
she's
a
just
person.
small for being like, a person.
I remember watching like
my
Shaq's like MTV Cribs where he's got like the huge Superman bed that's like
Yeah.
that's big for even Shaq to be in.
Yeah.
That must be like a room for her.
Yeah. It's actually
She's
Shaq's.
in like a gymnasium when she goes into the room.
Like she like looks
She's
under
doing,
the
like,
covers
floor
and she hears
exercise.
echoes. Like, hello.
Like,
Shaq. XL.
But as for Steven Soderbergh, Behind the Candelabra
God.
was supposed to be his last film, but after reading this script, he thought it would be fun to make this, so he came out of semi-retirement for this.
He's been retiring for a while.
Yeah.
I remember when Magic Mike was supposed to be his swan song.
Jesus.
This is my
That is an
I'm gonna ride off
insane
into the
swan
sunset.
song.
Magic Mike.
Who the fuck goes, I'm going to go out on Magic Mike?
I think he thought it was going to be something different, and then the
How many fucking different things could that possibly be?
Well, I feel like the
Well,
marketing
I
team was
guess-
like, Chippendales, the movie.
yeah.
Like, you know, like
I think the marketing definitely spun it on its head. But Logan Lucky was written by Rebecca Blunt, it's her feature debut. But there has been speculation regarding the identity of this film's screenwriter, Rebecca Blunt. The film's production notes state that she is a native of Logan, West Virginia, who now lives in New York City, and that she is a first-time screenwriter, but no one other than Soderbergh has personally vouched for her existence. Some people involved with the film have exchanged emails with the person they believe to be her, and believe that she lives in the United Kingdom. But sources have speculated that Rebecca Blunt is actually a pseudonym for Soderbergh's wife, Jules Asner, or for comedian John Henson, or for Soderbergh himself. So no one's really sure.
Why John Henson?
I don't even know
I
who
get
that
like
is.
why like his wife, but like it's like, oh, it could be
Do you
like
know who
this
John
dude's
Henson is,
wife, or it could be John Henson. No, I have no idea who fucking
I
John
don't know who
Henson
he
is.
is either.
Maybe that's like Soderbergh's best friend.
He might be related to him somehow, yeah.
no, I was reading that it was a pseudonym for his wife. I think Soderbergh's
I
just...
don't think it's Soderbergh himself.
No.
We'll get into that, but I don't think the script is good enough to be Soderbergh.
I
himself.
literally cannot tell you one way or another. I have no like experiential or empirical evidence to say anything about that. So that's
You haven't seen like any of the Ocean's movies, or?
I mean, I feel like I just did. I feel like that's what this
I
was.
think everyone saw the Ocean's movies when we were like 9 or 10.
Is that the
They're
one
just-
with fucking Brad Pitt eating stuff?
I mean, I don't remember what happened
Isn't
to
Brad
any
Pitt?
of them.
Isn't
I just
Brad
know
Pitt
that
like the guy
Brad
that's
Pitt,
Pitt's
always
in
on the
it.
phone,
George
right?
Clooney, and Matt Damon were in like almost all.
Brad
don't-
Pitt is
they're-
like calling the shots, and he's like eating something in every scene.
I feel like that's in a lot of Brad Pitt movies. Is like him eating stuff and talking.
And like,
I
yeah,
really
and
don't
like
even
talking
I remember
like
in
this, he does
Fight
this
Club
with his
him like
hands.
eating stuff.
That is, yeah, no, that's a Brad
What if
Pitt
like Brad
mannerism.
Pitt just has
Bad
like
Pitt.
Bad Pitt.
Bad Pitt?
It's a bad Pitt, right?
What if like what if Brad Pitt just has like a continuously like broken hand and like a really chronic injury that he's just acting through and like kind of like waving it around?
He does kind of have
It's a
that,
part
like,
of all of his
I remember
characters.
seeing a guy do like an impression of Brad Pitt, and it was just kind of
Yeah.
like this, like.
The micro impressions guy.
Yeah, I think I forget who he did a bunch of other people.
Yeah,
He did a really good Brad
pretty
Pitt.
good.
But Logan Lucky stars Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Daniel Craig, Riley Keough? I don't know how you pronounce her name.
I don't know.
Katie Holmes, Catherine Waterston, Dwight Yoakam, Seth MacFarlane in a fucking horrible role.
Hilarious.
Sebastian Stan, Brian Gleason, who is actually the son of Brendan Gleason and the brother of Domhnall Gleason. I don't think I've seen him in anything before this.
Yeah.
Jack Quaid, Hilary Swank,
Terrible.
David Denham.
Weird.
Yeah,
right?
Roy from The Office.
I think we were setting up a fucking sequel. Wait,
Jim
who in
O'Hare-
The Office?
David Denham's Roy from The Office.
Oh,
Pam's
yeah.
wife in the
Fuck
first
Roy.
couple of seasons.
Fuck
He's just kind of playing the same role that he always
Yeah.
I feel
is
like
playing.
he was much more benign in
Just
this
a
fucking...
simple guy. That's what Roy always plays. And then Macon Blair, who we reviewed, I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, his directorial debut this year.
Yeah.
And he's back at acting again.
And he's in Blue Ruin and Green Room, anything Jeremy Saulnier
Anything,
directs.
That's all for Mike Notes, and we can progress into reviews of this movie.
Man,
at
if
large.
I didn't know, like, Soderbergh made this movie, I would have said, like, the same thing I said about, like, that Suburbicon trailer. I would have been like, wow, someone really wants to be the fucking Coen brothers and doesn't have the skill set to pull it off.
You weren't impressed at all by the trailer?
I have no idea what this means.
Oh, no.
So what was your knowledge prior to us being
Oh,
like,
wait,
here it is the
maybe-
movie you're going
maybe-
to watch on this podcast?
Maybe we should talk about like did we talk about my total lack of experience in like cinema?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because I think you texted me about that and I said, no problem.
Yeah,
We do that. We do that.
On the podcast,
I mean, like, yeah,
no, we don't have that.
do we preface this podcast with the fact that this is literally the second movie I've seen in
Hayden
theaters
has never
in, like,
seen a movie before.
No, I've seen like a couple movies.
At least 5.
I'll tell you like I've seen Apocalypse Now. I saw Apocalypse Now. I'm gonna start off with a good one.
It's a good one to see, yeah.
It's a good movie.
I've seen Legends of the Fall and A River Runs Through It.
Okay.
So I'm like into Brad Pitt being Western. Like,
Right,
that's
yeah.
like something I like, I guess.
It's a lot of Brad Pitt. So.
Yeah. I've seen Happy Gilmore and and
I do
Mr.
love Happy Gilmore.
I saw Mr. Deeds. What's the one with fucking Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan together?
Shanghai Noon?
Yeah,
Shanghai
I
Noon
saw
and then
that.
Shanghai
Wow,
Nights.
why did we both...
Yeah, I saw that. I saw one of the Pirates of the Caribbean. I've seen
Just
like
one of them.
I've seen Star Wars. I saw the first Harry Potter. Is that the one where they killed the fucking snake? No, I guess I've seen the second Harry. I've seen 2 Harry Potters. The one
Okay.
with like the turban and the one with the snake. Spoiler alert. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen these
The
yet.
one with the Muslim guy.
But like, yeah, I mean, though that's like I don't know, like the fucking dude like unwraps like his like
Yeah, he's
purple
got-
scarf
I know
head.
exactly who you're
Voldemort.
talking about.
And then there's like another fucking head on him, like plot twist. You know, like so like I'm not what you would have seen Saving Private Ryan.
All right.
And I guess
That's one of my favorite movies
That's a
of all
good
time.
All
movie.
right, cool. Like so, like
You've seen movies. This guy's movies.
I've seen movies, but like when I say like that's like the majority of the movies that I've seen. Mm-hmm. That's the majority of the movies I've seen. I lost my virginity to Click.
Oh no!
I know that's terrible.
Now I'm like really trying to like picture the scene.
I mean, that's at like the right time to lose your virginity.
When did Click come out? Let's try to figure out. Let's
I remember
just try to
being very young
backtrack
seeing
when.
that in theaters. So.
Let's try to backtrack what age you were.
I'm pretty sure that's
All
before
right,
I
so
lost.
I'm 25 now. Oh, dude, this sucks. My dad really does listen to all these fucking.
I was in my dad's bed.
You were out getting
Click.
sushi, dude.
And I was like, "Fuck you, Dad."
I was in my dad's bed watching my dad's favorite Blu-ray Click.
That is not true, man. No,
Shout out to Mr. Sammak.
oh, dude, this is so bad. This is so bad. And drunk Hayden is going, this is not going to be that big of a deal. And then tomorrow, sober Hayden is just going to be fucking horrified.
I talk about how I lost my virginity
Yeah.
in my
That's-
dad's bed. while
See,
watching
it was not. It was in my basement, dude.
Okay,
So that sucks.
that's like a great place to.
Is it?
Mr.
Is it?
Hammock. Mr. Sammak breathed a sigh of relief. It wasn't in my bed.
It wasn't in my. He was not watching Click in my bed. It's not even that he wasn't having sex in my. He wasn't watching Click in my bed. Was Click on TV or is it?
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that a,
It was literally on TV and it was on TBS. So like, not only was it Click, it was like watered down Click with commercial breaks. It was pretty much the worst possible version of Click. That
It served its purpose.
So, Jesus Christ. I can't believe. This is a dangerous show that you guys got.
We do. You know what? Honestly, a lot of people, like, the next morning will kind of be like, oh no, what did I do? And I was like, dude, I do it every week. And I've said a lot of, like, weird and embarrassing shit, but it just, time goes on and we just keep putting out other episodes and then it gets buried and...
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
You know, I mean...
This kind of sounds like somebody who's like, you know, the first time you kill somebody, it's really...
After you kill 20 people, you just kind of
you really lose track of it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, fucking whatever, dude. I fucking, like, get up on stage and, like, wear funny pants and, you know, I do shit like that. So, fuck it. If it's, like, the most embarrassing thing that happens to me, like, this month, great. Great. I fucking got on the radio twice, or I was doing this, like, fucking, that Free at Noon thing. Mm-hmm. I fucking got up there because there are guitar changes in, like, this particular show. Mm-hmm. I got up to the mic not once, but twice with a fucking unplugged guitar. And started playing it, dude, like, live on, like, the fucking air. In front of, not to mention in front of, like, 250 people. Fucking, and wondering why my guitar wasn't making any noise.
This is just here in case anyone
wants. Oh, thank you.
I'm in a band as well, and I can so relate to that.
What band are you
in? My Eyes Fall Victim, where we haven't done anything in a very long time. We're
I mean, you guys are writing another album now, though.
We are, but we haven't done anything in a very long time. But just, I can very relate to that feeling of just, like, being ready for a show, having that, like, adrenaline, just, like... someone's keyboard isn't working, or someone's bass isn't working, or someone's drum, you know, cymbal fell down or something.
Right, yeah.
We used to, like, joke that we were fucking cursed because our first band name used to be Beyond Repair, and we're like, fucking, ever since then, like, everything has been beyond repair since then. But anyway, let's dive into this movie.
Dude, you are incredible at getting back on track. It is literally amazing. I do feel like I'm trying to sabotage you. What are you, like, crossing shit off as we go? Like,
oh, dude, if we didn't, this podcast would go nowhere anyway.
Oh, dude, yeah.
We're pretty good at tangents.
Cool.
Oh, no, yeah, we gotta get better at the actual reviews. That's where the drunk part comes in.
My girlfriend literally just texted me saying, "How drunk are you for this?"
5 out of 5.
I'm gonna say
5 fingers.
I'm gonna say 3 fingers.
3 fingers. What?
I said 3 fingers.
All right, let's talk about, like, your guys' preconceptions of this movie going into it.
Okay. So, I mean,
you were talking about that. Yeah.
I feel like. Did you see the trailer at all for this movie?
No, dude.
Or did we just told you to go see it and you went and saw it?
Yeah, I literally had no idea what it was about.
Logan
I literally got into there and I was like, oh, James Bond's blonde.
We're in this, like, weird blind spot of, like, we host a drunk movie review podcast.
Right.
I can never tell whether stuff is just being marketed for me because I've liked certain movie pages and I've liked whatever. So I'm seeing this stuff on Facebook or Google or whatever.
You're just worked into the algorithm.
So much of my internet presence has somehow been tied into movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm just getting these ads somehow because of what the internet knows that I like, or whether it's being just sent out to everyone my age. So
with like your, Logan Lucky, targeted ads or whatever?
Yeah, like Logan Lucky, I got a lot of shit for. Like I thought Logan Lucky was going to do much better than it did at, like, 3 weeks of, like, 20 million.
It had a pretty big trailer release. I mean, like, they released this trailer.
Again, that's for me. I thought it did. I thought I was seeing the trailer everywhere, but I feel like a lot of people didn't know about Logan Lucky coming out.
I literally had no idea that this movie existed.
So that's a good testament to, like, they're targeting us because we've been posting about movies for 2 years straight.
I feel like when Steven Soderbergh releases a movie, people pay attention to some extent.
It is like the highest degree of, like, indie filmmaking, I feel like, Steven Soderbergh.
I mean,
he's not like a fucking indie flick.
Really? I mean, I think he has the backing of, like.
Well, he always does, like, a big movie and then, like, a passion project, and I feel like this was, like, because it's, like, his, like, return as, like, a passion project of some kind.
Yeah.
Like, it has big names in it because I think people want to work with Steven Soderbergh, but I don't think this was like, here's $100 million, go make a movie. Like,
I feel like this was also very Ocean's 11, though. It was just like redneck Ocean's 11, kind of. You know.
He did say that at some point. I don't know if I wrote that down somewhere.
I don't know. I thought I was gonna like this because I like a good heist movie.
So you didn't like it?
Not really. No.
Oh, get out of town.
I wasn't crazy about it. It wasn't. What I was saying is, I like a good heist movie with clever mechanics and process and everything. But if we're gonna jump right into this, I don't think the intelligence of like the heist that happens matches the intelligence of the characters that are presented to us. You know, like I can't picture like.
Do you mean like the characters seem dumber than this, or the heist seems
yeah,
dumber than the character seems smart?
I seem smarter than the characters.
Because these are like multi-layered, like very intelligent.
I just love when the dude shakes up the gummy bears. I'm into that.
Daniel Craig.
Yeah, fucking blonde James Bond shaking up the gummy bears. That's how I'm referring to.
So you didn't watch a trailer at all?
No, dude. I had no fucking idea what that movie was about.
And then you had a positive reaction to the movie overall.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't fucking see many movies, man. Like, you know, like...
So compared to Pirates 1 and 2 and Magic Mike.
Yeah, like compared to like fucking...
Did you actually see Magic Mike?
Compared to like Click, like, let me contextualize this for you. Click is like my
compared to the movie that I lost my virginity to.
Click for me is like definitely my most memorable movie experience.
The climax.
I mean,
were you able to like watch some of Click and then get into sex and
let me put it this way, dude.
I feel
Click was not a good movie, but
I had
Click was somehow better than the sex that I was having.
Oh no, was it like bad first
Dude,
sex?
What do you mean was it bad first sex? It was first sex. Inherently, it is bad.
Yeah. All right, yeah. I hear you.
You know, do you remember how your fucking handwriting was when you tried to do it the first time?
How old were you? My handwriting was defined.
Just right out of the gate, just fucking...
I was a freshman in college when I lost my virginity, so I wasn't...
Well, I'm not coinciding. Okay. This is not a linear thing.
I was thinking about
age 11.
I was just learning cursive. Having sex was no...
I'm just contextualizing, like...
I could barely do cursive Z's. Of course I didn't have a good sex.
I'm just talking about, like, the first time you do something, it is never good.
Yeah, I understand it now, but at first I was like... Whoa! How old are you? Your handwriting wasn't legible yet. Like, who was having sex with you during Click?
Oh my gosh.
Oh god. Anyway, Logan loved it.
Look at him. There he goes again. He's good.
Oh, people know way too much about
this review.
No, but it is like. I'm glad Mike brought it back so I could get in my point again. Like, if you've ever seen Ocean's 11, I think Daniel Ocean's is like this criminal mastermind, and that's like really well established in Ocean's 11. Like, this isn't his first heist, you know, that he's gonna do. He's done something. He's kind of dabbled in this shit like many times before. And then on the other hand, we have Channing Tatum or Jimmy Logan, and he's this construction worker who again comes up with this brilliant fucking multi-layered plan like out of the blue. Like, I was just kind of like, there's no way he fucking like considered like even insurance shit just because like
in this movie they sort of established that's outside of his character, because he has the one meeting. This is jumping further in the plot where he has the meeting with Adam Driver's character at whoever's house.
Is that armless Darth Vader?
Yeah, armless wannabe Darth Vader. Yes, right. From the new episode 7, Force Awakens.
Arm Vader.
Isn't that's who he's supposed to be in the new Star Wars? He's like,
someone who's like a fanboy of Darth Vader. Yeah.
Oh,
he's Kylo Ren. He's like worshiping. Yeah, he's like worshiping the sort of like crumpled up like.
Wait, so are we? So the dude, how the fuck is Star Wars working now? Are we before or are we after?
It's after.
It's after.
Okay, got you.
Definitely invest in your like list of movies. Definitely put.
I've actually seen more movies now. Like, going through it.
Definitely watch The Force Awakens. It's pretty good if you've seen the other Star Wars.
I've seen
the original three.
I've seen the original 3.
Okay, yeah, then watch The Force Awakens, because...
don't watch the prequels.
Yeah, don't watch the...
Just forget those happen and then watch the new ones.
Is that... Yeah, okay.
They have the meeting in whoever's trailer or apartment, and then Adam Driver's character, the armless Darth Vader, is kind of like... I appreciate that you've kind of taken the time to like think this out. That's not par for the course for you. I forget how he says it, but he's essentially saying.
He says
it's weird for you to take this time to plan this out. That's not typically like you.
He says, basically because you are giving me an organized presentation, I am going to reward that with my attention.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So we already know that like Channing Tatum is not the type to like plan this whole shit out.
No shit, dude. He thought he was going to be a professional football player, blew out his knee, and now like works in like a like mine under like a NASCAR track. Like, yeah, dude, this dude has not thought out his life choices.
I kind of forgot that was a character detail, the whole football thing.
Yeah, well, that's why he got fired, because like his like blown out fucking knee was like a pre-existing condition.
I don't know. Maybe they just could have tried to set up that he was like some fucking genius.
He was smart.
Outside,
he's portrayed as like a big, handsome like jock, rather than like a smart, like conniving person who's like, oh, here's this entire.
I guess that is true.
Foolproof plan to fucking steal money from the NASCAR 500, whatever the race is that they steal from.
There goes my like fucking like cinematic credibility. I did not even consider. I just blindly accepted. I was like, oh, I guess this is a failed football player who's also a genius criminal. Man.
I don't know. There's something also about all these characters being like quirky for quirky's sake, kind of. Yeah. They're just quirky just because the director wanted them to be quirky. As opposed in like what I was saying before, like the Coen brothers characters are.
Who are the Coen brothers?
They directed like Raising Arizona.
Does that have any relation to Sacha Baron Cohen?
No.
Leonard Cohen?
They're just like two very acclaimed Jewish brother directors. No Country for Old Men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They direct very clever movies and Fargo.
Gotcha.
Like
okay,
cool.
like
they can they're able like something like Fargo. They're able to get like a very authentic, grounded, real kind of slice of life from a very specific like subset of like
they do a
like
lot of
Americana
like,
or whatever
dark comedy,
right?
Like Fargo's a funny movie, but it's also a dark movie.
I've seen Fargo in the way that I've seen one scene from Fargo in the way that I saw someone get put into a wood chipper.
That's the scene everyone remembers from Fargo.
Well, dude, that's
I thought you were going to say I've seen Fargo in the way that I've seen Click. Like,
oh yeah.
I lost my second virginity to Fargo.
I lost my second. Oh man, dude, that sucks.
But the point that I'm trying to get to is sometimes I don't feel like it's as clever as slice of life from a subset of Americana or whatever. I feel like sometimes like this movie and these characters feel like a little bit exploitative or condescending at times. Like it
feels like it was written by someone who has never actually lived in rural like East Mid America.
Here's my question:
people who lived in rural East Mid America are fucking making movies?
It's a very good point.
But here's the question: is this a bunch of A-list actors putting on like redneck face?
Are you just going out with like a giant thing of cold chili? Is that what's happening over there?
Oh, looks like couscous or quinoa.
And today,
look at last week's guest, Kevin Pettijohn.
This is the first time I've ever spoken to this person.
It tastes like regret. Here, your bite.
Oh no! I'm super germophobic. I can't.
Want me baby bird you? No.
Go sit down.
Open up.
Don't engage with Kevin. You're just gonna get that.
He seems nice.
I'm very friendly.
Very friendly.
I wanted it to happen.
I've never had anyone offer to baby bird me before.
It's very intimate.
We've never met Kevin before.
Groovy. Okay.
But no, was this a bunch of A-list actors kind of
It's nice to meet you, Kevin.
doing redneck face? Because it's
redneck face.
It's kind of what this is.
That is like the most meta blackface ever. That is crazy.
Not that I'm like, people shouldn't be. I don't know.
Wow.
It does kind of sound like a term of like blackface, like they do redneck face on Hollywood all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my god, whataboutism?
Like
yeah. Well, what are you saying, that it's like somebody putting on like this like plight of America to build like a Robin Hood-esque character to like further this like ethical robbery kind of like plot.
I think are these accents that they're doing.
Oh, they're fucking ridiculous.
Are they
Daniel Craig's British, right? Fuck.
I thought Daniel Craig did have the best accent out of all three of them.
But is how
Out of all
everybody's
three of them, it's not saying a whole lot. But.
is this movie at all exploitative or condescending to the people of the North Carolina, West Virginia region, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Okay, well, first off, you're offending a very small demographic.
Right. It just seemed ridiculous
There are
at
like
times.
6
yeah.
people in West Virginia, and one of them is John Denver.
Right, yes.
You know, or not anymore, I guess.
That was the one thing that did make me think, like, does Steven Soderbergh actually know anything about West Virginia? Like, the only thing he can think of is the song that has the lyrics.
Apparently it was shot
Country Roads,
mostly
West
in
Virginia.
Georgia.
Like, he's from Georgia, yeah. Steven Soderbergh.
But okay, but in like the same way that what was that fucking who the fuck makes like those like crazy like fucking movies where everyone like my favorite movie ever is like Life Aquatic.
Okay.
Right?
That's a good movie, yeah.
So
Wes Anderson.
yeah, or what was the other one that I saw? It's not a Wes Anderson movie. It's a better example of it. It's that movie about like the Cowboys and fucking Kurt Russell smashes that like guitar in it. It
The
has,
Hateful Eight.
yeah,
Quentin Tarantino.
right. Like so, I kind of just like took it as like, okay, these guys are kind of like all caricatures of like
That could be very
archetypal, like so, like that's kind of where I was coming from.
Definitely.
Like, the you know like the chick who like rips on like the goofy like trying to be like you know a big guy on block like car dealership dude who like can you know drive a stick really well, or like you know like the blonde dude out of prison who's like a fucking scumbag but like really like I don't know fucking you know I just kind of like took him as like you know caricatures of archetypal fucking.
And that's something that like I feel like this demographic could rally around, kind of like the kind of what's her name, kind of making fun of Roy, like you know just
Riley
yeah,
Crowe.
like just because you like work at a car dealership and you know you sell like 4x4 or whatever fucking pickup trucks, like doesn't mean you know like what it's really like to drive one or something.
Yeah. That was like one of like my sort of biggest problems with this movie is that it seemed like it was about to dive into a bunch of different themes and it never really followed up on a bunch of those. Like I thought that was one of the themes they were maybe trying to get into is like
this movie's very
like real
surface.
country versus like fake country.
But like, don't you think like
like
making that dude a total douchebag would have like kind of detracted from like the fun of like the movie? Like, to me it was like
Who,
the
Roy,
fact
or-
that like the fact that like everyone and like all the conflicts were like ultimately like so painless and inconsequential, it made it easier for me to enjoy that movie. Because like one thing that I like hate more than like a movie or like anything like a book like with like fucking zero like character development is like a like you know a show or a book or a movie that fucking tries to have this like really like gravitas you know poignant character development and these epiphanies and stuff like in poor taste and needlessly and executing not well.
But I think they were trying to go for in this film. It seems like they were trying to go for a like Joe said, a Coen Brothers type of aesthetic, which is to have even in like his comedies. Like I think of like Burn After Reading, where he's got this sort of it's almost like a satire of you know DC and political culture and like the intelligence culture in like DC of like the CIA and the FBI and whatnot,
Right.
And sort of how inept they all kind of are in that culture, while it's supposed to be like the most like smartest people you know,
In the
handling
United
like
States,
the intelligence stuff and stuff like that, and how you know that whole thing could get so out of whack, and like the ending to that movie is like just kind of like
Well, it's
fucking look whatever, like
the
you know
fucking
that's just
plot
what happens.
points, dude. You know the like in my mind, they should just got that little girl the fuck out of this movie. They should have just literally cut all her shit because like you know even like the idea of like yeah he's robbing this bank to support like you know his like daughter. You know,
Okay.
'cause he just got, It's like, what do you mean support his daughter, dude? His mother has fucking full
It's so-
custody of her,
the
and she's
reasoning-
fucking rich, like poignantly rich in this
The
movie.
reasoning for him robbing this NASCAR track is so poorly established in this movie.
it's
And that's
really
sort of what I'm
hard
getting
to-
into
yeah.
is like there's no like I thought they were going to get into like a theme of like when he gets fired in the one scene with Jerry or Larry, whatever his name is from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Well, it's both.
Yeah,
They-
in
they-
the course of that show.
Purposely referred to him as the wrong name. Yeah.
Yeah, like him getting fired because of like having like the bum knee or whatever it is from high school. Like I thought that was gonna sort of delve into this whole narrative about like jobs getting shipped overseas and like almost like a sort of like Trump narrative of like we need to bring the jobs back to America, and here's like coal mining, which is like at the center of that whole narrative of here's American jobs mining for American coal. And
Well, it's interesting. He wasn't a coal miner, in this movie, right?
wasn't he?
No, he
the,
was
the premise
like-
was that they built this fucking track over. I've literally saw this movie like a couple hours ago, so like I'm
You
like
probably have better-
particularly
Yeah, this is
on point.
this is rustier.
So they built. This
he's kind of
track
an inside
on-
man because he's go on.
They
yeah.
built it on a fucking landfill, and so what happened was like there was something wrong with like the groundwater or like the size of the structure was like pushing down on this landfill that really should not have been built upon. So it was like fucking up a whole bunch of pipes that went under this thing and made this facility. So what happened was there was like a fucking collapse in the mine one day, and he saw the infrastructure by which the vendors at this track, this like stadium, would fucking put their money through, and it would
the
go
pneumatic
into a
tubes, the
central
PTT.
into like a central vault. And is seeing this infrastructure via his, I guess pipe digging fucking job or what the fuck ever.
So they're just miners of some. They're not.
Well, they're not
coal-
miners.
coal
They're
miners.
they're just
construction
like fucking
workers.
construction
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, just because I think
You're making me hate this movie in retrospect.
he's like because
Welcome to the podcast.
he's employed by the
union.
Essentially by the people that he's robbing. He's robbing the people that he was once hired by. That's why he's like their inside man, and he's able to come up with this plan.
I think it's more of like, okay, so that is like the one part that I think this movie really did have is certain like sort of metaphor was, he wasn't, since it was like a union job, like a union, the union is basically a third party subsidiary to, both of, or at least to the track. And, I guess union fucking jobs or whatever, like I don't know how one goes about contracting the fucking union. I don't understand how that works. But
Same.
But the idea was, a lot of the fans of NASCAR are, I think, in like this like mind of like, the filmmaker. What the fuck is this dude's name? Sutton?
Soderbergh.
Whatever. The that guy. I think it was kind of, the rednecks, I guess, quote unquote. Man, I hope I don't get some like really obscure hate mail for this.
What's her name?
Love Hate 33.
Fucking Songs 33.
At Deadfellow. Actually,
She does have both in her user.
She wouldn't even
love
fucking
and
do it.
hate.
she wouldn't even give
It's
you
not
love.
just love. It's not
she
just.
wouldn't
It's
even
not like
add
Love
Deadfellow.
Hearts 33.
I'd have to go through like hashtag fucking Logan Lucky or whatever to find this like shitty comment.
I was just trying to enjoy my lunch.
Yeah.
And I heard someone bashing
Didn't even
my
let you have
favorite
food
movie,
down there.
Logan Lucky.
So
You have
fucking-
ruined the movie Click for me.
I can't watch Click without thinking about you losing your virginity.
You probably had very poor stage presence. Your hair was a mess.
We gotta stop talking about this.
Sorry.
Anyway, I think what it was like, the kind of like Robin Hood-esque moment is like, this thing, this like NASCAR behemoth that is like come in the same way that all like professional sports really become these like capitalist like behemoths that just, every man just funnels their fucking money into.
Right.
In like, it was kind of taking it back from them. So I think like it made it a very plausibly ethical target in some like Robin Hood-esque kind of
But I
way.
thought they muddied that up because they have the initial plan where they're just trying to rob the one.
The small scale race because there's lower security.
There's some like charity or something that's hosting
it's
an
a
event there.
supermarket that
They're hosting an event, and that's what
supposedly their sister was, like sexually harassed
when
by
they
like a
meet
supermarket.
with the two brothers of Joe Bang.
Oh,
And they're like, you gotta essentially convince.
Wait, they were related to the Joe Bang guy?
Yeah, the two brothers.
the guy with the long hair and the red hair.
Oh, wait, okay, never mind.
Honestly,
I have it in my mind that anyone played by Daniel Craig is automatically a British dude. So I'm like, how are they brothers? And then now I'm thinking about that fucking accent.
Honestly, you know what? The girl that is the sister of like the Logans.
Yeah.
Didn't think she was their sister.
Oh, it took me a long
For
time.
a really long time. Just because I was like, she's the hot girl. She's obviously dating one of these guys.
Poorly
Plot
established.
twist, the random doctor who was on there for like 3 seconds in
Catherine
the beginning
Waterston,
of the movie was the fucking love interest. How horribly established was that?
Very
Damn,
poorly
man.
established.
I thought I went and saw a good movie today.
We're gonna keep dragging it down.
Sorry to ruin this for you.
Damn.
But we persist on. What was I just talking about?
Can I go
You
to
can
the-
definitely-
I'm gonna go to the bathroom real
Yeah.
quick. You guys get through this.
We
part,
will
and
keep
I'll
going.
stop
Yeah, no, it's very casual. You can go do whatever you want. You were just
Also,
talking about.
where is your bathroom?
Straight
it's
ahead.
like the door straight down. Yep.
Okay, got it.
Cool.
They had the scene with the two brothers when they meet them at like the county fair or whatever, which I did like that scene. I feel like that was the one time where they tried to sort of get into the mind of like, what is it like to actually live in West Virginia? Like, what do these people do in their free time? And this was like the one time where it was like sort of giving us a little bit of like a slice of life of like, where would you find these two guys at like a county fair of some sorts? And then they have this whole thing where they're like, kind of, you have to kind of convince us like we found God now. We have this higher moral ground. We're not just going to go robbing whatever for whatever. We have to have a moral reason, an ethical reason to rob this place. And they come up with, I think they fake it the entire thing of like,
Oh, definitely right.
oh, like, well, this bank, like the manager there, like groped my sister and blah, blah, blah. Like, we're essentially trying to take it back from them.
Right.
And we're trying to rob it back from this, unethical situation. Mm-hmm. And then it gets switched to at the last minute, like something gets changed and it's not going to be ready, whatever their situation is, until the like Coca-Cola 600, whatever the NASCAR like official race is, which is a much bigger race, a lot more security. And then they have the one scene where they're telling them about that, and they're like, "Well, shit, like NASCAR, like they're just good people. Like it's a good thing." Like, you don't really get the impression in this movie that these people think of NASCAR as being like, like it's not like
corporate evil.
It's not like us like robbing like the NFL or the MLB or something like that. Like they think of NASCAR as like they're good people. Like why would we not like NASCAR?
But didn't they kind of like? I feel like they kind of like after the fact tried to establish that with like the fucking insurance claim plot line. How like they didn't.
They did after the money was actually like robbed and taken.
I don't
from
get
them.
why the fuck they. Okay, but now we're getting into spoiler territory.
We've been in spoiler territory. Yeah. I mean, we didn't say it, but yeah, whatever.
Anyway,
if you're listening to this,
they get away with it.
Logan is lucky.
Is he lucky or is he calculated? Because he really did just check shit off that fucking list.
Yeah, he's like fucking Rain Man.
That's a
like,
fucking annoying thing that they didn't really address in like detail either. Was that like fucking list? Like you just like looked at it and like it's like, oh, we're at the bottom of it, and like you saw it once when like nothing was crossed off, and then you saw it again where everything to the last thing
There's
was
a lot
fucking
that's
crossed
not
off.
greatly established.
I think this movie's like biggest flaw, like potentially, was in editing. I would assume that they probably had a lot of this, but in order to keep like the pace, because it's like the one thing this movie does have really good, like right, is like its pacing is really nice. You feel it. I think it's almost a 2-hour movie. It's like it's a long movie.
It's pretty long.
When they are like under there and they're like actually suctioning the money or whatever, and they're dealing with that whole like thing under like the speedway, I was kind of like, this movie's slowing down.
I thought this sex scene was like a little gratuitous. No, there wasn't any sex.
I was like, man, I really missed something here.
Yeah,
Was click play?
When Adam Sandler had the remote control that could control time.
All right.
Yeah. Well, no.
That's just how Hayden associates with sex.
I did. That's why.
Do you have a remote control? I need to.
That's the excuse
That's what
that
I need to
use,
get.
man. Yeah. No. You see, it was really longer. I used the control. That is not me making that sound. Dude, my fucking dad is gonna hear this, man. I'm telling you.
I don't think he's listening at this point.
He's listening.
Dude, he's checked out. He's checked out.
Pays freakish attention.
My
to
own dad is not
We're not like
listening at
freakish
this
attention. He's very fucking interested in like these like things.
Well, we're glad to have a new fan.
Anyway, I didn't really get my biggest problem with the entirety of this movie was when they're down there like suctioning up the stuff, and for literally no fucking reason at all, the dude's arm gets sucked into this vacuum, and it's like, oh, that sucks. And then for some reason, fucking blonde James Bond and his like fucking ratty brothers were just like, and fuck you for losing your arm in the military because your brother was a football star.
That was
and
like
you're
a
just
really
like what?
Constructed
That came out of nowhere.
conflict.
Yep.
That was
It
like,
was really weird.
we're like an
that
hour
was
and a
like-
half into the movie. We need to have a conflict at this point.
That was
now.
literally
So-
the rationale, and it was like 10 seconds. It was like the guy loses his arm, but all the brothers are like, and fuck you for losing your arm because your brother was a football star. And
The reason you lost your
wouldn't
arm
have
is because
gone
you were
to our
trying to measure
wreck.
up to your brother who was popular in high
See,
school.
I didn't even get that. And then, like 10 seconds later, it was like, I'll get you your arm back, and he was like, okay, now let's go. And like that was it. And it was like a weird.
There was
know.
there was so much of Jimmy Logan, the Channing Tatum character, just doing so much of this heist behind the scenes. And I know it was trying to be this kind of heist movie
the
where it's
end?
like, actually, I did this, and actually, I did this.
Yeah, sure.
But it was still like, where did you find the time to do that and go to your fucking like daughter's rehearse or beauty pageant?
I
don't
still
fucking
think
know.
a NASCAR car should have hit that girl in the very beginning of the movie. It justified the entirety of this like heist.
Because are you saying that just because you think like this entire conflict is built around this like
I don't
him having a daughter?
I just
or-
don't understand like the plucky little like beauty pageant girl. I just do not understand.
I don't completely understand
You know,
it either.
the girl was going to be fine. Like, you know, I guarantee you, like, you know, Roy has a fucking enough money in this movie to have this, you know, this. She's fully vaccinated. You know, she has access to gelato. You know, I don't think that this girl's well-being was contingent on Channing Tatum's ability to rob a fucking NASCAR vault.
No, yeah,
What an
no.
obscure fucking target in NASCAR vault.
It was he was the
Dude,
inside.
you're making me hate this movie.
He was like the inside man. He worked there. And I feel like that got lost in translation somewhere where he's like, I know how like it all works. Like we never really got that scene where he's like, I know how it all works. Like besides like, I guess he knew the very like simple like 4-digit key code to like get down there. That was about it. And yeah, he had this inside knowledge of like, there's a tube system and yada yada yada. I don't know. But no, yeah, I agree with like the little girl. Like that was literally the whole motive for this whole thing. I really hated so much of this movie. I don't
Really?
know. A lot of I just think a lot of this
Like, was this in retrospect or like in the theater were you pissed off about this movie?
So I think I had high expectations about this movie, and then I went in I don't know, and I think it was just poorly telegraphed or conveyed through the plot. Like I literally think when they were down there doing the actual heist or whatever, I was like, this should be more exciting. This should be like Ocean's 11 kind of, where like there's like some shit happening.
The
you know?
soundtrack
Yeah.
actually, you know, was kind of, I mean, this is like a fucking, you know,
I don't even remember the soundtrack besides John Denver.
yeah, I mean, this is like a fucking like, yeah. Anyway, you know, I wanted to say like this is like such a musician thing to say, but somehow acknowledging that makes it even worse. I did not think like the score was like, I thought the score could have been better. I thought the score could have been like,
definitely, yeah.
more fucking interesting. It was kind of like porny a little bit, like kind of like funk and stuff. I remember tuning into it specifically at one point.
Yeah, I can see that. I was about to say the ultimate test of whether, just because we're not going through so much of the specifics, just more like broad general themes, but I feel like the ultimate test of like whether you cared about like the emotional core of this movie was whether you felt something when his daughter sung like "Take Me Home, Country Roads" during her pageant, and I was like, kind of like, I feel like that was your cue to be like, all right, get emotional about this movie now. And I was just kind of like,
they did the first verse and then the chorus, and they had an opportunity to just be like, cut. You understand that she's going to sing the rest of the song.
Cut that you're outside of the theater now, and you're being like, congratulations, baby, you won.
And they kept doing the rest.
Also,
of the song.
why did she win? Like, why was that necessary?
I just. In thinking about like the writing of this movie, I thought John Denver was too obvious of a choice. Of what popular song can you think of that has the lyrics about West Virginia in it? Like John Denver, Country Roads is obviously the first song that comes up, or whatever. Take Me Home, whatever the song is actually called.
Fuck this movie.
We've completely hated
Fuck the plucky little girl. Fuck the dude who owns the car dealership. Fuck James Bond and armless Darth Vader. Fuck Channing Tatum. Fuck John Denver. This is. You're making me hate this fucking movie, dude.
I did like
Tom Petty is the warden. That's bullshit.
Is that Tom Petty?
No.
Yeah, I was about to be like, this is completely new information to me.
No, it's just the fucking accent, and I remember I was watching it. I was like, man, you know what? I feel like Tom Petty would have been fucking sick as this warden.
Yeah, that would have been.
Tom Petty should have been.
Well, this fucking movie's like Ocean's accents. Like everybody's trying. Like I mean, it's their own like
and the only
unique
one that I think
accent.
that really, I think Riley. I still can't say her name. Ko, however you say her name.
Who's that in this movie?
Logan's sister.
Okay.
The younger. I don't know if she's younger. They don't really establish that she's the sister, much less where she lies in the hierarchy of the Logan family. I thought she had a pretty convincing country West Virginia accent. And then I thought Daniel Craig had a pretty good accent. I thought he did his part. But then I think Channing Tatum, I like Channing Tatum as an actor. I think he's done a lot of great roles.
Who's like from Alabama.
I don't think he nailed this accent at all. And then Adam Driver, who I fucking adore as an actor, who I think has done some amazing roles before, cannot handle this accent as he took it. It was like
his
cartoonish.
character's just boring.
It was like a
too.
caricature where he was just kind of like, well, I don't think you should go to the country store and blah blah blah. Like it was just this. It did not sound real at all. Whereas when Daniel Craig would talk, even he would have like the most ridiculous lines out of all of them. But I would believe his accent the most, just because of the way that he would portray it, like no peeking, I'm naked back here.
Do you think that the expectation of an indie aesthetic via director Studemeyer or whoever the fuck this is?
Soderbergh. Steven Soderbergh.
Do you think the expectation of the indie aesthetic a la Soderbergh made this movie ultimately less enjoyable and their ergo less good?
I think I was expecting it to be a little bit smarter than it ended up being.
Yeah.
So because I had a high opinion in my mind of, I remember enjoying. I really can't remember a whole lot about them, but I remember enjoying the Ocean's movies. And then we watched like The Limey in college. I remember liking Aaron Brockovich when I watched it like as a young kid. Like I haven't really seen anything from Steven Soderbergh in a long time now that I think about it. But I remember just having this esteem for him in my mind, and
I think everybody
I'm
does,
sure that
so
influenced it to some point to where I thought that this was going to be a much smarter movie that ended
so
up
then
being,
like does it end up being like a problem with the movie itself, or is it a problem with how the movie is presented before you saw it and the resulting expectation?
I still don't think it's a great movie. Even trying to remove that like expectation for it. Yeah, I still don't think the plot totally holds up. Like I think the sort of heist that they try to pull off is too smart for the characters that are trying to pull off this heist.
Right.
I don't think a whole lot of it is really established. I think there's some weird stuff with this plot with like you brought up with Catherine Waterston, the weird last minute thrown in like love interest thrown in there. Like that's so poorly established. And then I think there's no real like theme that's thrown into this movie. Like you can have like a fun heist movie if you kind of give us a reason to relate to these characters and be like, oh, I can, forgive them for committing larceny to a grand degree because NASCAR
is grand larceny.
Yeah, because NASCAR is this bad organization, or this bank that they're robbing is a bad organization, but they don't do their homework in terms of establishing that in the script. So we're just kind of like, okay, like here are these people that just decide to. We don't even really get a real explanation for why does he need the money, because we also get like
we were just talking about that. Yeah.
We get this contrast between like Roy's character, Roy from The Office,
love how
David Denham.
Roy.
I can't think of him as anything else but Roy from The
What
Office.
is his name? I don't know.
David Denham. He's presented as
David Denham?
That's his name. Yeah.
In the movie or in
No,
real life?
in real life, it's his actor. I don't
His
know.
last name is Denham. I really hope that's a fucking stage name, and he actively chose Denham.
David.
Well, it's like
David Denham.
Denham. Denham.
Oh,
Denham, not denim, not like.
But still,
Denham.
David Denham.
David Denham. Yeah.
It's a catchy name.
Have you heard that joke? What are Mario's overalls made out of?
Oh, denim.
Denim.
That is a good joke.
It is a good joke. I thought of it.
You heard it here.
I watch Jerry
but like
Maguire every night before I go to bed.
You went from the guy who's never seen movies to the movie.
No, I'm a connoisseur of Jerry Maguire. Exclusively.
Of that one movie.
What about Jerry Maguire get you off? That isn't Click.
He lost his anal.
What is it?
I'm sorry.
Where did that come from, Mike?
I was trying to apologize to you. I'm sorry to you.
Apologize to my father.
I'm sorry to Mr. Sammak. I was trying to make a humorous
Mike just
callback.
comes out of nowhere with anal virginity.
Jesus.
Trying to be a callback.
I'm saving that one for Adam Sandler's comeback.
When he has another good movie.
Yeah.
The Cobbler.
I'm hedging my bets. I'm hedging my bets that Adam Sandler is never going to have another good movie. Jesus. Oh, this is awful.
But it's also great at the same time.
Oh my God.
It's a good episode.
Oh.
What were we talking about? David Denham. David Denham.
My dad is gonna hear this. My
Denim.
girlfriend is going to hear this. Presumably. Oh, Jesus.
Everyone has
good news
to
is that
lose
nobody
their
else will
virginity.
They try to present this sort of like contrast between like in like the opening scene, like he's like an earthy guy. He's like working on his car.
Salt of the earth. Like,
Yeah, he's working on his car. He works in a mine, literally. Like he doesn't need a cell phone. He doesn't need any of that shit. And then we
his
have
plucky daughter.
Yeah, and then we have David Denham.
Fuck you, plucky daughter.
Denim, who is like, oh, we're gonna go see the new Fast and the Furious movie. It's so great, and like getting like the Explorer, and like he's obviously
Wait, what?
When they first meet Roy's character,
They're gonna go see a movie?
they're talking about going to see the new Fast and the Furious movie.
Oh. I missed this.
And then, yeah, like,
It's a short scene, but they have a whole thing where like Channing Tatum's character is like, is that really appropriate for like my daughter to go see?
Wait, really?
And he's like, oh yeah, like they don't pay, they just watch like the moving images on the screen, that they don't know what's actually going on, and we can go enjoy whatever. Like
Right.
They're trying to create this contrast between like Channing Tatum lives this simple life and he's better for it, and then this Roy character, David Denham, I don't know his actual character's name in this movie.
he's David Denham now.
David Denham forever.
I have something that you guys might be into. I also have Tourette's, so that's why I make squeaky noises sometimes. But my friend who I was going to go see the movie with was actually like 30 minutes late to the movie, so I was texting him the plot points. So he
please
would
read
stay.
that. Please read that. Yes.
Okay, so he goes, this is when I'm in the theater. It's 12:30 at this point. He goes, on my way, LOL, 43 minutes. I go, dude, ... I will see you in the theater. He goes, okay. So now I'm texting him. Channing Tatum is a poor union worker who got laid off his job. His ex-wife is rich. They're in West Virginia. He doesn't like cell phones and stuff, but he likes his daughter.
Accurate.
He goes, LOL, stop. I'm almost there. Don't spoil it. I go, I think he was supposed to be a football player. Dave, he goes, what's the movie though? I go, Dave, they're not going to rewind it. It's Logan Lucky. He goes, okay, word. I go, okay, her new husband is a douche. His ex-wife sucks majorly with full custody. There's a bartender with one arm. There are some douchebags who look like they're in a band or something. That's Seth MacFarlane, another
NASCAR
forgettable plot point. Channing Tatum is beating him up now, and the one-armed bartender just lit their car on fire. Channing Tatum just said cauliflower to the one-armed bartender, his brother.
Did you just say cauliflower to me?
And now they're back at his house. They're gonna rob a bank or some shit. Wait, they're gonna rob a speedway. Since his union job was at the speedway, he has an intimate knowledge of the tunnels, but more importantly, how they move the money from the speedway to the outside, which is actually incorrect. Now they're visiting blonde James Bond in jail because he knows how to crack safes well. He seems mean.
He likes eggs.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They're trying to convince him to let them break him out. Them being the Logans and him being blonde James Bond. By the way, they think there's a family curse on the Logans, hence the title. They're getting together a mismatched ragtag crew of bandits now. The one-handed bartender just got himself put in jail for 90 days on purpose. His daughter does like beauty pageant stuff. Looks like he just met some sort of weird love interest. He being Channing Tatum. And then Dave says, come outside, I'm here. Like right
Did he
outside
want you to leave the movie theater?
When he said like right outside the door, and I said, I'm very obviously watching a movie. Come in, you will see me. And then he says, I can't see, LOL. And then I said, look. And then that's when I waved my phone at my friend. And then my friend joined me. So that's a play-by-play. Thank you.
Chili guy likes it.
Thank you, chili guy.
So,
You want to get into
do you
some...
follow Middle Class Fancy
No,
on Instagram? You should. There's a chili thing that you would find funny. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if like your choice in meals tonight extends to your sense of humor, but if it does,
we can only assume.
check out Middle Class Fancy.
He was
on
eating
Instagram.
chili tonight is a punchline.
Do you guys edit this at all?
No, this is just straight up, yeah.
You wondered what it would be like to get drunk and review a movie, and this is what it's
awesome.
You've learned it.
Come back,
I love this.
come back anytime, please.
I just wish that no one had to hear this. You know? I would. Does want to hang out more?
Let's do it. Yep.
All right. Sorry.
All right.
Continue.
You want to get into some finger ratings?
Yeah, we can get into rating this movie.
Yeah, we're.
I feel like we've broken
we're
down
pretty
all
deep in
the
this.
pillars of this movie, and I'm ready to...
Wait.
right.
Do you want to talk about the end real quick?
Yeah, we could talk about the end, too. Yeah, so, I mean, all of this goes off. Channing Tatum sees his...
somehow hatches a mastermind plan.
Yeah, he sees his...
It works.
He sees his unconvincing daughter's performance, and he's kind of like, yeah, that was okay. I guess I should return all of this
Right.
money, and...
Do you think that was the catalyst for that decision? I thought it was like just like the general ethos.
I think that was part of his plan
like,
the entire time, which I thought was also poorly established.
that
I
was
guess,
poorly
like,
established
the
for
thing-
me, yeah.
But you know what is the thing? There is one line that is very crucial to the movie, and it is literally the only line that this person has in this movie. It's one of like the fucking merchants or vendors telling the other vendor that there is a credit card problem, which they didn't really establish how those fucking dudes pulled off just shutting down their credit card system.
Yeah.
Because like the whole
they
thing
set off
was, like,
explosives at the one like nameless like
oh,
cement
that's
thing.
what that was.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was at the prison.
No,
No,
that's
yeah,
at NASCAR. They're
Oh.
trying to shut off like the system so that they will only take
Only
cash,
cash.
so that the cash will there'll be more cash in the safe.
Why did they
so-
need
In
them
addition-
to be a computer whiz? You know, like besides the
I
joke.
don't know.
Besides the joke that I know all the
the
Twitters.
Twitters,
Like
yeah.
it
I
was
know.
literally like just for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so But the line is the one vendor says to the other, he goes, drop all the money. The registers are getting too full. Just drop all the money. We'll figure out the numbers later. Mm-hmm. Which allows like the leeway for like them to settle a massive insurance claim and thus not really care about pursuing the case anymore. So it lets all of them off the hook. But also it keeps an unexact figure. So as long as they take a modest cut of this money, it can essentially be like chalked up to as a probable figure, or a probable figure of an unknown estimate.
Because there's no paper trail. There's no he paid exactly this much on a credit card. Sure. Mm-hmm. It's just he gave me this much and we didn't give him a receipt because it was paying cash. So we gave him $20 and we gave him whatever. And it's
right.
It's also putting more physical cash they can literally suck because they can't suck out credit card payments from the system. They need physical cash in this vault that they can suck out.
Yeah. So
it's two things at once. Yeah.
So first off, I feel like to rob these people electronically would have actually been easier.
Sony gets robbed and hacked every week.
what they went through. They not only broke
someone
dudes
had to go to
out
prison.
of jail. Well, someone went to prison.
The whole breaking somebody out of jail is ridiculous.
Then they robbed them for the heist, and then they put them back in jail. They staged prison riots and explosions.
I do think
one guy from the jail got a payoff.
I think part of this movie that I do sort of like, it's one of the one sort of leeway that I'll give this movie, one thing that I'll forgive about this movie is that I think it does sort of really nail the theme of luck and how much they have to be lucky for this shit to actually get pulled off. Mm-hmm. And they do establish pretty well how they have this sort of family curse that they have over their heads of this probably won't work because our cousin whatever fucking lost his leg and I lost my leg and he lost his arm. And
so whenever somebody gets lucky, something unfortunate happens.
All this shit keeps happening, and then all this lucky stuff has to happen. Right. There's a lot of willing suspension of disbelief that has to happen. But it works because they've established they shouldn't be this lucky. So when this stuff starts happening, you're their luck is starting to turn. It makes sense that this is the one thing that's going to work out for their family.
Well,
so
kind of.
It doesn't seem like a really foolproof plan. There's a lot that has to kind of work with the security guards being as dumb as they are.
So
to be all right, yeah, you guys can go past.
So you're willing to suspend disbelief in the name of this moral treat, this moral feel good. But it's harder for you to suspend disbelief just via pure plot inconsistencies. You're more willing to do that.
I think I can suspend the disbelief in the bigger picture of I see what they were going for.
Right, sure. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But in the smaller minutia of this guy obviously wouldn't let them go past. This obviously wouldn't work. Some of the smaller stuff with this movie, I think I have a harder time.
The ending was clearly to set up a sequel, right?
I think it was
with
just more of a
Swank at the end there.
Ambiguous ending.
I think it was supposed to tie into the whole they think there's this family curse that's every time something good happens, something bad happens after that.
What about Hilary Swank at the very end though, being oh, I'm just passing through, and then
I think that's supposed to mean that you think this is a happy ending, but she's on.
They're all gonna get caught.
She's going to catch on to them at some point, and this lucky streak that they're riding is going to come to an end, and the curse is actually real on their family.
So you think it's just an implied thing? You don't think there's going to be a sequel to this?
No, I think so. I think it's.
I don't
just
think it made enough money to make it. It was
no, it got a 91% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Critically, it was well received, but it made less than 20 million. So I don't think it's enough for a sequel.
Well, does it seem like a movie that was necessarily a huge budgeted movie? There weren't any crazy fucking stunts or anything.
I think from the amount of people that are in it, it was probably a decent budget.
Yeah, probably.
Channing Tatum, Adam Driver is at his peak now. Daniel Craig probably making a decent bank. I mean, Hilary Swank you could probably get for
budget
cheap.
Of $29 million.
Yes, I mean they might have made more by now. I took that number last week, so they might have broke even by now. And maybe at the end of their run and with DVD sales, they'll make a profit.
Okay. I bet you $20 that when do they normally announce a sequel?
I don't really know.
I thought you were a fucking movie dude. Come on, man.
I thought you knew movies, man.
I thought this guy was movies. I don't know, maybe like a year or two.
Okay,
If the movie's like projected to do well enough, they'll announce the sequel before it even like releases.
But it was like budget $29 million, box office $29.8 million. So they made.
I'll gladly take up your $20 bet that there won't be a sequel to Logan. Lucky.
Yeah,
I bet you there will be, and it focuses on Hilary Swank fucking pursuing these people into a like fucking thing.
I'll shake on it.
Okay, fine.
No, yeah, I think that was just like an ambiguous ending of just kind of No, it's the Logan curse is whenever somebody comes into money, they get fucked over, and I think this is just the ending thinks it's clever because it's like, oh, they came into money
trying to turn
and now they're fucked over.
what you thought was a happy ending on its head of like they're all at the bar, they're all enjoying this money that like we kind of had like two twists where like you thought he gave the money back and then we have the reveal of like, oh, he did this weird shit with where he hid it somewhere and they actually did get the money and he distributed it out to everybody that helped him with the heist.
Yeah.
And now they've all got their payout and everyone's fine and the FBI is not looking for them anymore. And then we have this kind of happy scene of them, all of them at the bar, just drinking together and enjoying each other's company.
Bullshit.
And we think it's fine. And then literally the last thing we see is Hilary Swank, you know, in like plain clothes,
Dude,
not
what
as
a
an FBI
fucking
officer.
unpleasant character to bring in at the very end, dude.
Yeah.
Hilary Swank sucks, man.
She's good in like certain roles, but
Is
this is
she?
not the role for her. She's good in like
She was,
Boys
like-
Don't Cry and like her like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Hilary Swank was like a relevant name in cinema.
It
but,
was just
like,
fucking weird, and like the character that she was playing was like so goddamn harsh.
I didn't like a lot of the like sort of
It was the
cameos in this
mannerisms
movie.
that they projected onto her were like weird. They were
Her character, yeah, it was very much like, well, you don't think that maybe he could have possibly done this with the money.
yeah, it was very this
And then
like
I hated Seth MacFarlane in this movie. I didn't think he was funny. I didn't think he was clever. I didn't think it was a good accent. It was, even though they tried to like obscure his face and like not really have a clean, clear shot of his face, you knew it was fucking Seth MacFarlane. Even I didn't know that he was in this movie.
Yeah.
But I heard his voice and I was like, yeah, I've heard him do a million voices in Family
They
Guy.
fucking-
That's obviously Seth MacFarlane. Like in this
He's
movie.
pretty rough.
I guess the problem with it was, you know, they should have established a more legitimate motive in the beginning. They should have, you know, taken these characters and, you know, amplified like their traits, at least making it like all it took was like, you know, him going into the haircuttery and instead of like waving at the hot girl and leaving, him being like, hey sis, you know what I mean? Like that would have fucking done it.
Instead of like, I was like, oh, he's talking to his now girlfriend. Like that was his ex-wife. This is his now
That's
girlfriend.
what I thought for a long time in the movie.
Same.
Until someone said like the little
Twins?
Logan or the little whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't until blonde James Bond was like actively flirting with her. I was like kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
There was in the first scene, I thought that his sister and his ex-wife were the same person. Those actresses look very similar.
They do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
You know, all it took was like a little stronger like establishment of motive, a little stronger like backstory on like the characters. And I feel like I understand why they did it. Like
This
you know,
looks like it could have been a good movie.
well,
I really when I saw the trailer for this movie, I was really excited for it because
Same.
I think I was bought into like the more superficial aspect of this movie of like Daniel Craig doing like a West Virginia accent,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
and then Adam Driver and Channing Tatum trying to do that as well. Like, and they picked the best lines for all of them in the trailer, where they didn't pick the lines where they're like, "Oh, you're butchering this accent right now.
Right.
Well, I
you
think-
cannot handle this accent right now."
You know,
they all looked good in the trailer, and it looked like it was good, and they were all kind of at their peak of like Adam Driver, especially like having come off Patterson and then The Force Awakens and all the other shit he's done. Where you're like, yeah, I can't wait to see the next shit that Adam Driver's going to do.
Right.
And then Channing Tatum, I've kind of always
props
waited
to him
for
for not getting fucking like typecast. Like that's got to be
Adam
like
Driver,
the
or-
craziest thing. Yeah, that's got to be
Yeah.
like the craziest thing, right? You have like your first successful like movie like that. I feel like it's like your second movie is either like, all right, he's either typecast or he's not. Like fucking like Harry Potter and Frodo Baggins are Harry Potter and Frodo Baggins. That is like that is it.
He was in Girls First though.
Who?
Adam Driver.
yeah.
He
He
plays
was in
like
Girls
Lena
before
Dunham's
Star
girl
Wars.
or boyfriend.
Fuck
For
Lena Dunham.
I hope your dad's not a Lena Dunham fan.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into fingers.
All right.
Middle fingers to Lena Dunham.
Did I read that? On review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 93% based on reviews from 191 critics with an average rating of 7.6 out of 10.
Wow.
So that's pretty high. The site's critical consensus reads, high-octane fun that's smartly assembled without putting on airs. Logan Lucky marks a welcome end to Steven Soderbergh's retirement and proves he hasn't lost his ability to entertain. I don't know if I agree with any of that.
I think like the main flaw in this entirety of this movie is like, I feel like what he was trying to do was establish like this backstory subtly and kind of like a subtextual between the lines like kind of way without spelling it out. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is like the ultimate flaw of this movie is like that particular thing was not executed well.
Yeah.
There was a quote somewhere where he was saying that like he read this script from quote unquote Rebecca Blunt, whether that's a real person or not, that wrote
Fuck
this
Rebecca
movie. And he said that he thought
Fuck
it would
James
be fun
Blunt.
to make, and he came out of retirement because he thought that it was sort of like the antithesis to Ocean's 11, where Ocean's 11 is like these rich, privileged, smart people, and this is kind of like dumb people pulling off a heist.
Antithesis.
And
The
I don't think
antithesis would be like the dumb people fucking up the heist.
yes, and I don't think,
didn't
I
better
don't,
than,
I
like,
think
fucking
that's the
Ocean's
part
11's
that
guy.
was fucked up is that they're, like you said very eloquently at the beginning of this review, is that I don't think their IQ matches up with what they ultimately pull off in the end.
Right.
Or the end result.
It's just kind of like Jimmy Logan
Very
somehow is
provincial attitude.
Jimmy Logan is somehow an expert in how like a Fortune 500 company's insurance works due to like I stopped using the cell phone for 3 months. And it was just kind of like, and that's how I know how, like,
which is another
like, really high corporate like insurance works.
It's
It's
like
like another-
by the moon.
It's like another thread that gets put. There's so many threads that get put down in this movie that you're kind of waiting for them to pick up at the end, and like they have sort of tie-ins to the like concrete plot of like they couldn't track him because he didn't have a cell phone. But I was waiting for like a tie-in to like the theme of this movie of like, is there a sort of theme of like technology is bad and like we should be averse to technology, or like money is bad, and we don't really tie in to any of it at the end. Like the end just kind of ties up, and we don't have any really callbacks besides just the actual concrete of like we couldn't track him because he didn't have a cell phone.
I literally would.
And
have
Roy
saw this
is
movie-
humiliated because his car is dirty at the end. Like that's all we get.
Oh man, there's mud on my new car.
There's not
And
even a
that,
dent.
that was the payoff.
You know what? It's hilarious. If I was not doing this right now, I would have saw this movie and never fucking thought about it again. That is like that's what.
And now it's gonna haunt you how much they didn't
and now that
close
now
out
I'm
this
like,
movie.
Well, gee, there was not significant plot character development in like fucking Darth Vader. Damn, dude, if that fucking Love Songs 33 chick hated me before, man, if she ever gets on this like
Logan Lucky was my favorite movie.
I'm tempted. I'm really, really tempted to like to put something on Instagram about this. So,
I want to tag her.
Oh no! Don't do that.
I won't.
If someone's being uncool, like you can publicly blast them.
Don't tag
as
them.
fucking Love Songs 33 has taken advantage of. Yeah.
Hey, but I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
This isn't me being recorded on a podcast saying I told you.
Oh my god.
But I didn't tell you.
That's too funny.
Oh god. All right.
Okay. So
Anyway,
how
do
do we do the finger thing?
All right. Do you know how this works? It's 0 to 5 fingers in increments of half fingers. So
I feel like there's like
0,
some, like,
half finger,
sexual thing
1.
here.
as many fingers as you're comfortable with fitting.
How many fingers?
So I guess like the perfect movie then would be no fingers for me. We're talking about
it's like between 0 and it's just like a
I
one.
like how you're looking at your hand and
I'm like,
trying to
it's a
decide.
1, 2, 3, 4. I had my cell phone in 3 months, and now I understand.
Oh Jesus!
Rocket
I'm surprised
science.
he didn't like try and say like he navigated the tunnels by like the stars or like something.
I just looked up when I was in the tunnel.
That would have been like less of a plot hole.
Derbity derbity der. NASCAR. Redneck face.
Oh man, now we're getting.
John Denver is the only artist I can think of.
Yeah.
Jeez,
to
at least
ground
give us
this
like
character.
fucking James Taylor or something, man.
Yeah.
Everybody knows John Denver.
Well, that's the thing.
And you know what the thing is? Fucking James Taylor has a song called Carolina in My Mind, and the thing was in fucking Charlottesville, Carolina. Way more sense than fucking Country Roads.
That was
it doesn't
another
even have
weird
a fucking
thing.
state title in it. It just has
At the beginning.
It was a weird thing to just put it between two states. Like, just put it in West Virginia. Like, why do we have to be between
you know
West
what the
Virginia
other thing is?
and Carolina?
The other thing is, like, she's like, we're moving with the kid, and we're going to, like, fucking West Virginia. And he's like, that's beyond state lines. And then he drives over state lines, like, in the course of this, like, literally 15 times. Like, it's no fucking thing. Never makes mention of it.
And he just lost his job. Like, what is he?
All right, this is another thing, is that, like, they have this
So it
whole...
turns out we hate this movie, huh?
Oh, I hate it from the start. They had this whole conflict of, like, she has the kids like her a little bit more. He's always trying to sort of get her affection and
You
the
think
kids'
the
affection
kids,
back.
like, I felt like the kids like Channing Tatum more.
Well, it's just the one kid. The one kid, she does probably like Channing Tatum more, but she has more control. She has full custody. She has control over the kids, and he's trying to get back. He's trying to stay in these kids' lives, stay back in these kids' lives, and then she's saying that she's gonna go like. I'm completely losing my train of thought now.
Do you remember when Trump called Hillary Clinton a nasty woman? That was crazy.
Just that delivery.
Okay, I remember. She's saying that she it was a very good non sequitur. She said how she's gonna go across state lines because David Denham
Right, David Denham.
is gonna open a new car dealership in whatever state. I think he's in West Virginia. He works in Carolina.
Okay.
So maybe she's gonna go back to Carolina.
Dude, Denham.
Fuck Roy.
Do you remember when Donald Trump called Hillary Clinton a nasty woman?
She's gonna.
That was wild, right?
He's gonna open a new like car dealership, and she's like, "Well, I'm gonna like move the kids there," and he's like, "Well, like I'm gonna get like a fucking lawyer," and that's like the only sort of like implication we get of like he needs money. Like he seems pretty okay with the simple.
Oh, you think that was it? He's gonna get a lawyer.
Well, he's okay with the simple lifestyle because he's like, I don't need a cell phone. I have this raggedy old truck that's fine. Like, maybe I need a car for whatever, but like I don't want to go see Fast and the Furious movies. I just want to take my daughter to go see get ice cream and shit. Like he doesn't seem like he really needs money. He's fine with this like simple West Virginia lifestyle, and she wants to move over the state border to North Carolina to start a life there with car salesman David Denham Roy. And he is like, well, I'm going to fight that. Like, I'm going to get a lawyer. And she's like, oh, with what money? And that's kind of like the next scene is like him sort of initiating the whole robbery. That's the only sort of like implication we get for like, why is he trying to pull off this really high risk like robbery when he seems pretty okay with like living this simple lifestyle. And we've already seen him in contrast to David Denham, who is like, I need the best cars that I can't even drive because I don't drive stick. And like, I need to go see the Fast and Furious movies with my kids. Like, we've already seen this like really well established contrast. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really seem like he needs that money. But then at the end, through no real like development in the actual plot of the film, she's just okay. Like she moves.
Yeah.
Who, his ex-wife?
I assume they move. I think they're at a new house. Maybe they're at the old house.
I think they're at the old house.
No. They move.
Do they move?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Move. And there's like that weird thing where like very specifically shows like the construction of like a new house next door, and like I feel like it was kind of supposed to make you think that maybe he like took some of the money and like built this like fucking house. Mm-hmm. But like it was
either way.
The shot did not have enough intention to
poorly established because we have the shot of him sort of picking up his daughter from the new house.
Yeah.
I thought it was in the.
I don't know.
No, I don't remember. It was definitely new
okay.
house. I think they even had like
but
a little like
she's way more cool with him than she's ever been in this entire movie, and I don't know where
you think so.
When he picks her up, she's kind of like, hey, like
the wife,
ex-wife,
yeah.
How have you
I thought you
been?
were talking about the plucky daughter.
No, and it's just kind of like I don't know where that progression happened because she was fucking pissed at him when he picked up the daughter last time. Mm-hmm. And then if she's okay with him, then why does he need to get like a lawyer for this whole shit? Especially if she's moved to a new house. He has no need for a lawyer. So it completely invalidates the entire reason that they sort of poorly established for the robbery in the first place. And I don't know what the whole message of the movie is supposed to be at that point.
I think, I think maybe the pseudo like reconciliation happened when she realized that, like, I'm singing this song because it's my daddy's favorite song. And like,
they have a shot of the ex-wife when she sings John Denver. Yeah,
and like I think maybe she realized like the centrality of Channing Tatum's. That's a fucking bullshit word, centrality. The importance of Channing Tatum's character to plucky daughter's general well-being, and I think maybe there was like some sort of like feel-good reconciliation that serendipitously osmosified.
I agree. I think we were supposed to get that feeling.
I didn't get that feeling. Fuck this movie. I hate this movie now.
I think we got it through like
you guys are vicious, man.
Cinematic terminology, but I don't think it was actually really presented. Like I think it was just kind of like we got that feeling because we understood that we were supposed to get that feeling, rather than organically getting that feeling of like, oh, she's come around on her ex-husband and she's sort of come around to his simple ways, of not needing a cell phone and not needing, cars that he can't drive stick for and all this like money that her husband has. Like we get that through that one shot, but we don't really get like why would she come to that conclusion? We missed a few steps there.
All right, so
but anyway, finger ratings.
I'm supposed to pick up my girlfriend at the fucking train station soon, and she's gonna be fucking furious. I'm not gonna be there on time. I gotta get down to Philadelphia. We gotta wrap this up.
Yeah, let's.
I know I'm the main like.
That's fine. We've kept saying that we're gonna do our ratings.
What the fuck? How long have we been doing this?
I have no idea.
It's like an hour 40.
Okay.
Get the fuck out of here.
This has been.
It goes.
Wow. All right.
Okay.
Throw some fingers, dude.
Let's all speed through our fingers. I'll go first. All I'm just gonna give this 1.5 fingers.
Are we getting fingered fast? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I'm just going 1.5.
We're getting finger blasted, as Kevin has appropriately called it before.
Oh my god.
By the way, this is the third.
An hour.
This is the third.
Foreplay.
This is the.
Just quickly fingered.
This is the third. Actually, I think maybe 2 fingers is more appropriate. I think I'm going to change to 2 fingers. But by the way, this is the third movie that John Denver's Take Me Home Country Roads has been in a movie this year. It was also in Alien Covenant, and then it was also in
It's a crazy movie.
Free Fire. It's like John Denver's like estate is facing bankruptcy, and they heavily.
Free Fire? What was Free Fire?
There's licensing.
Remember the A24 movie where everyone's shooting guns or whatever? We haven't reviewed it. We didn't review it, but it came out this year.
Called Free Fire? Or?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember it being called Free Fire though.
Did
you see it?
Yeah. Yes. Free Fire.
Anyway, sorry to sidetrack.
So 2 fingers?
Yeah, 2 fingers. And I don't know, just while we're talking about zeitgeist films this year, I feel like no one walks off into a sunset anymore like Ocean's 11.
That was nice. I did like that. That is one thing that I liked about this movie.
It's just kind of like Baby Driver turning himself in or whatever, and Hilary Swank and her ridiculous accent walking into this ambiguous last shot that we kept talking about. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like she's waiting for the ball to drop. I like that it ended on like a sort of ominous kind of note.
I would have liked that more if I didn't hate Hilary Swank's performance.
No, definitely.
As I did in this movie.
But 2 fingers, I really wanted to do 1.5, but I can't do it. It's just, I feel like this movie was beneath all of the talent involved in it. And that's the end of my review.
Okay.
Who wants to go next?
I think I'll give it 2.5 fingers. I think I did have a sort of fun time with this movie just because I'm trying to remove some of my anticipation for this movie in terms of Steven Soderbergh. Maybe I thought it was going to be a loftier movie than it turned out being, and trying to review it as the simpler movie that I think it was. It was it was a fun time at some times. I laughed for a lot of it. I thought I did appreciate a decent amount of the cinematography.
The Game of Thrones thing was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
In the jail, yeah, when they're all talking about Game of Thrones. There was a decent amount of funny dialogue, but I didn't think there was enough of the dialogue that I wanted to be operating on like a second or a tertiary level of cognition.
Yeah, and I thought the cinematography was alright, but it was just it let me down. I thought this was going to be like a pretty good movie from the trailer, like from liking Steven Soderbergh's previous work, from what I can remember, and just really liking. I like when Channing Tatum steps outside of his, sort of heartthrob appeal. I like Adam Driver in pretty much everything that he does. I like Daniel Craig, and I was really excited to see him really step out of himself, because I think he's sort of done stuff that's sort of close to home in James Bond, being a British version. Yes, I'll give it 2.5 fingers. It could have been like a 4-finger movie from like the trailer. It didn't really deliver on any of the promises that I thought I was promised from the trailer. I didn't totally hate watching it, but I had high expectations and they were not met. So 2.5 fingers. Hayden.
Well, fucking before I talk to you guys, I would have said like fucking 4 fingers, but now that I've like analyzed this thing, fucking critically, I guess I hate this movie now. I feel like you guys like did the trick. Like, you guys deflated this movie in the same way that Jim Morrison was like deflated for me. At first I was like, wow, Jim Morrison, far out. Wow, like look at him like jumping around and then falling and then dying. Like that's cool. And then like someone was like, hey, Jim Morrison was a drunk asshole, and I was like, no. And then someone else was like, no, really. He was a drunk asshole and like also elementary in his rhymes. And I was like, wow, I fucking guess you're right. And then I thought about it, and now like I can't feel the same. I have like this like, I feel like to like Jim Morrison and believe in like that ethos and how it is presented like via the mythology is very immature somehow now. And I feel like that's what you motherfuckers did with this movie.
We elevated your thinking.
Fuck
about
both of you guys. I prior to this, 4 fingers. After this, I guess they're just unforgivable plot holes that like I apparently can't get over now. So I'm gonna have to say 2 fingers. 2 fingers.
All right. So I think that
2.25. That'll round down to
2 fingers.
2 fingers overall from the podcast. So you guys were right after all. All right, we got to sign out of this real quick. Hayden, where can we find your shit? Give us a direct link that people who enjoyed this episode can go find your music. Specifically, Love Hate 33 on Instagram.
It was
Deadfellow is your pseudonym for music.
Yeah, I think that it is. Man, they just fucked me up on this lineup. I'm looking at this lineup for this fucking thing on
Where are you playing?
I'm playing.
Do you have any upcoming events or anything you want to plug?
I'm playing this charity show at the World Cafe on the 23rd, and I'm playing a Saturday night on September 23rd downstairs at World Cafe. Okay, come check it out. It'll be groovy, and you'll donate to charity, which is bitchin' always.
So it'll be this Saturday.
Yeah.
When it comes out, it'll be this Saturday. This comes out on a Thursday, the 21st. So this Saturday, if you want to go down to the World Cafe.
Yeah.
And see Hayden.
I'll rant about this movie on stage too. Just fucking follow me on Instagram. That's the coolest thing to do for me.
Deadfellow on Instagram.
Well, no, it's Deadfellow_PHL because like there's some like fucking Norwegian gamer dude who has Deadfellow already. And dude, he never used it. I've tried to send this dude like DMs and like I've commented on his photos. Yo, check your DMs. I've literally offered to pay him money for like just the Deadfellow handle. Won't give it to me. Maybe he's just a dick.
He's literally a dead fellow.
So Instagram, Facebook. You can find me on Spotify and iTunes. Man. Thank you guys for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for coming, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime you want an unqualified opinion, I'm here for you guys.
Good. Yeah.
And as always, you can find all of our shit on howmanyfingerspodcast.com. We got another guest waiting in the wings, so we're gonna sign off real quick.
Who could that be?
Who could that be?
Find out last week.
Thanks again for coming on, Hayden. Signing out for How Many Fingers a Podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm Joe.
Oh,
He's Hayden.
I'm Hayden.